Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. It's Tuesday, the 4th of August today. It's my first one of the week, guys. I'm so bogged down with work that it looks like I'm not gonna say that because I might do a video next week, Monday, but this week I definitely needed to take Monday off. So guys, without further ado, let's get to the topic of the day. Guys, it's about fake news today, guys. It's about how do you cure a sickness in someone if they won't acknowledge that they're sick. That's the sort of topic of the day, because I think that America's sick today, badly sick, because of the leadership not accepting truth for what it is. He's still comparing, Germany and Australia are seeing spikes. These spikes are 100, 150, 290, and they're going high to shut it down. America are getting 60, 50, 77,000 the other day, a day. And he compares his country to those countries. And the press allow him, well, not all the press, his own press, the right-wing press, which I'm going to get to on this program, allow him to blow that rubbish while their own people are dying, while people who attended, prominent people, like I brought to you, Herman Cain, who ran for president for the Republican Party alongside Trump, and then Trump won to face Hillary. He passed away from attending his conference, and he's still spewing this stuff. Don't you care about people? And then the other part of it is you've got those same news channels putting out fake stuff, watching the people die and calling themselves newscasters. Human beings even. How can they be human beings? Then you've got the other side of those followers who they put up QAnon stuff. And then they say, we don't believe it, but we believe in freedom of speech. We know it's rubbish, but we're going to air it. And then you, the followers, you hear them say it's rubbish. You hear them saying scientists have discounted it. But because of free speech, they're going to put that rubbish up. And then you see the rubbish itself, and then you believe it. How do you cure this sickness around the world? That's my problem. And that's the big question. It's like the senator, the congressman, the white congressman, who never wore masks, only once, and then has now caught corona. And he said, it must be the day he wore the mask, because he was trying to adjust the scarf. It was as well. He was trying to adjust the scarf, and the front might have caught something. Where he's touched it, that's why he caught it. It's not all the other 364 days of the year he didn't wear the mask. It's the 365th day, the one day he wore mask. That's the day he caught it. And he's convinced of this. Or he knows he's talking rubbish, but wants to convince you, the easily fooled, the easily convinced. It has to be that, because he can't truly believe that. So guys, there is a sickness around, man. I can't remember a time when someone tells you a story and they say, I'm lying. Don't believe the story, but listen to what happened to me Wednesday. They tell you they're lying, and then they tell you the story. And today people ignore, I'm lying, it's a lie, it didn't happen. But they take your story and run with it. Diabolical. Guys, to be honest, I'm starting today with a warning for Africa, which I picked up on Friday. So it's a short video, and then we're going to get into more the other stuff. But it is the only corona topic I'm touching on today. So guys, take a look at the WHO warning to African nations right now.
Health Organization is warning African nations not to ease coronavirus restrictions. The WHO's regional director expressed concern with how other countries saw a resurgence of infections once they loosened up safety measures. Cases across Africa have doubled over the past month. 5 countries make up 75% of the total cases, with South Africa leading the way. The continent is expected to surpass 1 million cases in the coming days.
Guys, the reason I started with that video is the WHO warns the continent to say, look, be careful. America's been warning itself, but still can't get it right. So guys, instead of fighting the pandemic on their hands, that whole section of the country, the right-wing section of the country, are spreading confusion because confusion suits them better. It's better they're confused as to what's killing them and who's killing them, and they keep dying. Let them keep dying, but let's make sure they're confused about why they're dying. What a terrible, terrible, evil policy. Take a look.
War on the truth these days, politics and the pandemic. And hydrochloroquine connects the two fronts. As you know, the malaria drug known as HCQ is still being touted by right-wing media as a miracle cure for COVID-19. They're doing that through things like this video. There was this press conference held in Washington with these doctors who are not representative of opinion or of medical fact, of scientific fact, but because they were out there promoting this drug, Fox, Breitbart latched onto this, and precious days were spent debunking this nonsense. Don't fall for this video, Kaiser Health News wrote. Study after study has shown that HCQ is not effective in dealing with COVID-19. That's what Dr. Anthony Fauci said. At least he's being allowed to go on television and say it these days. But Trump's media outlets, his allies, continue to tear down Fauci and claim that Fauci is part of this elaborate, crazy plot to keep the country locked down, to help the Democrats. And 5 million viewers watch that stuff, and they hear it every day. Trump keeps getting fed terrible information from people he believes, like the man who runs One America News, that Fox News wannabe channel. He was hyping HCQ in a phone call with Trump earlier in the week. Fox is plugging these kind of fringe or exception to the rule studies that argue that somehow this drug is effective in treating patients. Again, the government's own experts say it is not. But, of course, the GOP's Louis Gohmert said when he diagnosed positive for COVID that he was going to take the anti-malarial drug. Anyway, that's what he told Hannity as soon as he went out there and said he was testing positive.
Remember the witch doctor? You know, all of these things are intentional. And that's what's really sad. Every one of these operators behind the scene, every newscaster on Fox, every journalist that goes to ask a question on Fox, every expert contributor that comes on Fox, they all have a script, guys. And none of you are in that script. That script ain't meant for you. That script doesn't care if you die, quite frankly. Let me show you guys another video. How they deflect and confuse and tell lies. And we're leading on to something, so stick with me on this one, guys. Take a look at this.
BS narrative that is supposed to make Trump feel good and is supposed to deflect blame from the rising death toll. When the U.S. surpassed 150,000 known deaths from COVID-19, and remember, the real number is higher due to testing failures and people dying at home, but at the 150,000 mark, news outlets pointed out that America is in far worse shape than other countries. And ever since then, ever since Trump read those stories or heard those stories, he has been talking about rising case counts in Europe and other parts of the world. Distract, deflect. Every bit of this disinformation is a waste of time. It is a waste of breath. Things we cannot afford to waste right now. But this alternative universe, it is strong. We've got to know what's happening in it because it does affect the president and his political choices.
I mean, it's so bad in what I'm trying to say, how they in public. So you got like this journalist you can't call these guys journalists. They're commentators. They just happen to be on TV. They're commentators. They're not journalists. They're not looking for the truth. They want to put confusion. They want to put fake news out. So this guy, after Twitter took down over 7,000 QAnon accounts, this guy then berates Twitter, saying, well, QAnon have found out some real good stuff though. They found out some real good stuff though. But then when they confront him in public, when a journalist puts a mic to his mouth, he says he doesn't believe any of that stuff. He's just talking about it. He doesn't believe it. So that leaves me saying to yourself, to you guys, if they can't admit they believe it in public, is it because they're secret agents of QAnon? Or is it because they know that anyone who believes that stuff is actually dumb, and they don't, there's a level they won't go below. They won't go so far. They will talk about it on the news because they get paid to talk about it. They will talk about it because someone says, like, this is the agenda that we got to talk about. But ask them privately, and they don't actually believe it. So why do you guys believe it? Why do you think all the politicians who are running the country are pedophiles? They all eat babies. Why do you believe that? Unbelievable. Take a look at this video.
Speaking of Fox, Errol, this thing happened about a week ago, but I still want to bring it up because I think it's so troubling that Fox's Jesse Waters was promoting QAnon on his weekend Fox show. He later claimed that he doesn't believe QAnon, but he was on the air saying QAnon's found a lot of great stuff about the deep state and Jeffrey Epstein. QAnon is a cult that is predicated on the idea that Democrats and other elites eat children, abuse children, have massive sex trafficking conspiracy networks. And there's Jesse Waters promoting this cult. I mean, this is a group that's been labeled a domestic terror threat by the FBI. Is this the mainstream of QAnon? Is that what's happening? It's a fringe idea that's becoming known to millions and being mainstreamed.
Well, yes, how that craziness gets laundered into the mainstream is a mechanism that you've certainly done a lot of reporting on, and something that we have to call out at each and every opportunity. And Jesse Waters can sort of play cute as if he's teaching the controversy, he's talking about a debate or something like that, but it's nothing of the sort. It's really more akin to, frankly, the coronavirus, and just like in that case, we have to have social distancing, we have to stop the spread, we have to warn people that this can happen, and we have to do everything we can to find a vaccine.
Guys, there's always a method to my madness on these shows. There is a reason I played that video next, and that was that you heard what he said, right? We need to how do you cure this fake news problem? And those who see the warning signs, the commentators saying this is we don't believe this, but yet they still believe it. How do you cure that? Social distance, he said. Stop the spread. Social distance so you can stop the spread, yeah? And vaccinate people against it. Never mind you guys don't want to take vaccines against COVID. You all bloody need vaccine against fake news. You all do. So I'm all for vaccinating folk against missing the warning signs, missing the bold notices telling you this, don't believe it, and yet you ignore it and believe it anyway. So you definitely don't worry about the COVID vaccine. We know you don't like those, but we're going to force you guys to take the flipping fake news vaccines, yeah? Guys, I'm on to my last video. And on a serious note now, if you want to see how right-wing media, what they've actually done, if you want to see it play out, take a look at this video, right? John Lewis, our hero, the guy I brought to you guys, is a hero for white, black, whoever you are, because he encompasses all of the spirits of all of them that come before us. The Nelson Mandelas, the Steve Bikos, the Martin Luther Kings, the Marcus Garveys, the Malcolm X's. He embodies all those guys because he, like I said last week, makes protest sexy, right? And he's our hero. So this video shows you what happens on right-wing television channels when someone like that is a state funerals. All the channels were on live, broadcasting it live, like a royal wedding. All the channels were on live. But because a black hero was getting buried, take a look at what happened with Fox viewers. So you, my black folk, understand, yeah? You see those people that switched off when they was talking about their heroes, they remind me of many of you that talk down about our heroes because they're in the same bubble as you guys. They really are. Watch this and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Broadcast networks, all the cable news channels. But I saw something in the ratings that blew me away. And I don't always usually talk about ratings, but look at this from Wednesday. This is a typical day on cable news, okay? Typical daytime cable news ratings. You'll see Fox is on top, CNN and MSNBC are a little bit below. Now go to Thursday. This is during the funeral. The red line is Fox. The ratings fell off a cliff. Fox's viewers didn't want to watch the funeral. Fox went from about 2 million viewers before the funeral down to like 400, 500, 600,000 during the funeral. And then right after the funeral, right after Obama, Fox's viewers came back. This is stunning. I know people aren't surprised by this. They say Fox's programming doesn't appeal to African Americans or other minority groups. But have Democrats been so demonized by Fox News that even the celebration of life of a civil rights legend is something they don't want to watch?
Guys, we've come to the end of the show now. But I'll just leave you guys with this. Can you imagine a whole section of the population switching off a black heroes being laid to rest? Doesn't that make you as a black person want to fight back and claim that guy as your champion? And say, if you're not proud of him, we are. Guys, that's the end of the show. Sorry about the noise out in one of my neighbors' gardens, if you can hear the banging. Guys, I'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, the Million People March is on, is happening. Tell a friend to tell a friend, spread the word. Mum, granny, uncle, baby, sister, brother, you're all welcome. Until tomorrow, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye now.